Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
LMA. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am blessed, black, and highly favored. I want the real answer though. After the pandemic, I said when I ask somebody how are they, I want to know how they really feel. What's your energy like?
I'm really great.
Okay.
Okay. Dead serious. I'm actually really great. It's early, so I'm as great as can be in this hour of the morning. But I'm really great. How are you?
I'm same. Blessed, black, and highly favored.
That's all he says. That's all. That's the only answer you're going to get. So now you recorded this new album. Did you record it here in the States or did you record it in London?
I did. I recorded it in the States. The 2 years of the pandemic, I wasn't able to go home. I wasn't able to go back to London. Yeah, because I was in the process of getting my green card. So if I would have left, I wouldn't have been able to get back in. So I didn't see my my family for 2 years.
Wow.
And I was recording the album, but it helped me really focus because I couldn't move, obviously. So, yeah.
Psychologically, how was that though? Because I mean, that was a time when none of us knew what to expect. We never had experienced that, so you want to be around your circle. How was that not to be able to go home?
To be fair, it wasn't as hard as I think it seems for me personally. Like I've been away from my family for quite a while, but I am used to going home normally. But I feel like with the team that I have around me, they feel like my family. So it wasn't as hard as opposed to like me being in LA by myself and not having anyone. I feel like that would have been super hard. But I still had great people around me. So, and I feel like FaceTime makes everything a lot easier because you don't feel as far or disconnected. So it wasn't super, super hard. I definitely did have moments where I was like, damn, I really wish I could like see my mom, see my brother, see my grandma. But, once we did finally see each other, the reunion was amazing. So
Gotcha.
All right.
Now let's talk about the evolution. That's what they're saying this project is an evolution, a difference between the last project and this project. So talk about that a little bit.
When I was recording my debut album, I was like 21, 22, put it out when I was 23, almost 24. I'm 27 now. So it's been a while. It's been 4 years. And I toured for the whole of 2019. And 2020 was supposed to be the recording year for me anyway, so that didn't really change much. But with the pandemic, everything was so stop-start. I like really found it hard to find a rhythm at first. But once I found it and like really kind of like prepared myself for what I wanted to say and what I wanted to sound like, and just the experiences, I think, of being like the difference between being a 23-year-old woman and being a 27-year-old woman, there's like a big difference. And everything that I like experienced in my career, I feel like just kind of gave me a clearer view on like who I am as an artist as opposed to when I was recording my debut album and really kind of like trying to figure it out.
What'd you tap into? The name of the album is Heart on My Sleeve.
Yes.
So what did you tap into to start wearing your heart on your sleeve?
They said you were in a relationship during that time. I don't know if you still are, but they said you were in a relationship.
Yeah, I think it was really just my life in real time. I think with my debut album, it was a lot of, like I said, figuring out and like it was personal, but it wasn't as personal as this project. Like I was really, really invested in this project. And I'm a Scorpio, so we have really hard exteriors. But on the inside, we're really passionate. We're really like intense people. And when we care, we really care a lot. And I feel like in situations that I'm in, I do wear my heart on my sleeve. So that was the perfect album title for me, honestly. It's just way more honest and emotional, I would say, than my debut album.
How did you decide what you were going to put in there? Like, was there something about your relationship you said, I'm going to put this in there, but I'm not going to put this in about it? Or did you say, you know what, everything's on the table, I'm going to be an open book? How did you decide?
I don't think it was a conscious effort to be like, okay, cool, I need to write about this, and I need to write about this, and I need to write about this. It was really just like what I was feeling on the day. And then whatever came out. And then I made almost 80 songs in this album process, and we narrowed it down to 15. So that process was a lot harder when like trying to figure out what to put in. But like as opposed to recording, I was just going in and really saying what was on my heart. And I don't think there was anything that I was trying to hide. It wasn't like a bad situation. I'm super grateful for it. So like I was just recording whatever I felt, what was on my heart.
Yeah, but you're saying a lot by putting out the first single called Don't Fuck Me Up. So either clearly somebody fucked you up, or you just giving them a warning. Are you been fucked up before and you telling this new person don't fuck me up?
Yeah. I think it's more so just like being in a situation where you understand how deep and how invested you are. And if it does go left, because anything can happen, you never know, it's like that's a scary feeling. So it's really me saying like, don't let me down. Like we know where we are. We know where it can go on both ends of the spectrum, positive and negative. And I feel like this is what we spoke about last time I was here too, like taking the good with the bad. So yeah, it's really just more of like no, I wouldn't even say a warning because people are going to do what they want to do regardless, but more so just me saying like, okay, I'm here, I'm invested, and I just don't want you to let me down.
So you have that conversation when you're dating somebody? Like when you first start off, you'd be like, look, don't fuck me up. Like
100%.
Immediately.
I don't know if I would say, I don't know if I would say like, don't fuck me up, but I would definitely be like, look, this is what it is. Like I'm very open, I feel like, in relationships. So I would just be like, I have obviously certain expectations for the person that I'm with, as they should have the same for me, you know, like it's reciprocated. And I'm just kind of like, look, I'm here, so don't let me down.
Expectations? What are the expectations that LMA has?
Just, I think emotional intelligence these days is not at an all-time high, unfortunately.
I said that. I literally said that at 8:00 this morning.
Really?
I said emotional intelligence is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
I said that verbatim.
Yeah, it's not. We're in a weird space, I feel like. And I like to think of myself as someone who is emotionally intelligent. Still working on it, obviously, but so I think I'm very in tune with my emotions, and not a lot of people that I've come across are. So I think really just kind of, I don't know, it's tricky. Definitely reciprocate energy. Like I need back what I'm giving to you 100%. And I'm not really trying to force any situation at this point in my life. I feel like when I was younger, or I was saying to my friends the other day, actually, like when you're younger, there's a lot of stuff that you don't actually care about. It's just like, oh, I'm in this relationship and I'm so in love and blah, blah, blah. And like all of the other stuff is just minimal and you don't pay attention to it. But when you get a little bit older and you realize like what you will and won't put up with, things start to get like a little bit more serious. So I think definitely reciprocate energy would be one. Communication. Communication, but also understanding, because communication, everyone says like communication is key, but like if we're communicating, but we're not, like we can communicate and we can have a conversation, but it doesn't mean we're understanding each other.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So like, if I had to pick two of the top, I'd say reciprocate energy and communication with understanding.
I don't even know if this generation, and when I say generation, I don't even mean an age thing. I just don't know if this generation of laptops and smartphones even knows how to really communicate. Because, you know, you got to be able to look somebody in the eye, talk, read body language, knowing somebody's being sarcastic, knowing somebody's joking. Like, I don't know if people really know how to communicate no more.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, I feel like the pandemic made it a little bit worse, but obviously no one's fault. But because everyone was in the house for so long, like behind your phone or behind your computer, or even like being able to work remotely, like not having to actually physically interact with people, it like when it was time to go back outside, it was almost like a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm not socially awkward at all. I'm quite an outgoing person. But even I felt myself like, oh, like I haven't done this in a while. Let me like kind of readjust.
Like humans.
Yeah, I know, it's so weird that we've done this our whole life.
Yeah.
And then 2 years go by of it not happening, and then it's like, oh, this is kind of weird. So yeah, I just want to be able to communicate with understanding and have reciprocated energy.
Did you lose a lot of people during the pandemic? And I'm not talking about like death. I'm talking about like just as far as it gave us a different level of clarity. Like we knew who we wanted to be in our lives. We knew what kind of energy we wanted around us. So was there certain people that you just outgrew during the pandemic?
No.
Okay.
You know what's funny, and I always say to people, I've had the same friends since I was quite young, since I was in high school, or even some before. And my family, I don't have like a super huge family anyway. So before the pandemic, I never really had anyone around me that I didn't feel like I should have had around me. And it stayed the same, and it's still the same to this day. And I think that's also what helps me, because it just kind of keeps me grounded. And I have people who really actually know me as like Ella as opposed to LMA, obviously. Yeah, I went back to my high school yesterday, which was really, really cool because I haven't been in years. I graduated 10 years ago. I went to high school here. And just to see my teachers, and like the stories were really, really cool. They were like saying old stories about me and what they remember. And I was like, I'm weirdly enough the same person, but just like obviously older. But the stories they were telling, I'm like, I haven't changed much, but it's cool because I have the same friends. I have the same circles. So,
do you feel pressure to get another boot up? Or
you know, I knew you was going to ask me this. I knew you was going to ask me this question. They were. I don't feel pressured.
And I'm sure the label's like, we want another boot up.
I mean, I'm sure I would love to have another boot up, I guess, in terms of
success,
what it did. Yeah. But like, and I think this is another thing that we spoke about last time too. Like, I don't think that I understand what I'm capable of, and I'm not putting pressure on myself to say if I don't have a Boo'd Up on this album, then I'm not successful. Like, Boo'd Up was quite an anomaly, honestly, and Trip obviously being the follow up was amazing. And I think whatever happens with this album, or even in my career, we can never take away what Boo'd Up did. And I'm sure I have many more, honestly. They just won't look like Boo'd Up, maybe, but that doesn't mean, success is relative. So like,
yeah, I wonder how the label reacts to that, because you could make a great body of work, which I'm sure it is a great body of work, but then it's just like, okay, well, where is the Boo'd Up record?
Where's the streaming record?
Where's this?
You know what's weird? I feel like with streaming and with the internet, obviously labels want to make their money, so that's like, of course. But I feel like it's not as like, I feel like hit records, quote unquote, aren't the driving force anymore, because something can become a hit that like nobody knew about. Like Boo'd Up. Boo'd Up was out for a year before anything happened. I haven't had anyone specifically say to me, where's the Boo'd Up? Where's the Trip? There's nothing on here, whatever. I have like a great relationship with my label, luckily. And I think everyone's just super excited to hear the difference, because it's still me, but it's like like you said, it's like an elevated version, and we'll see what comes from it. Yeah.
How vulnerable do you want to be in the music? Because, when you listen to R&B music, the best R&B music most of the times is when people are spilling their soul and spilling their guts.
Yeah.
So how
bleed on them records.
I dug quite deep, I will say, in this album. It was quite hard at times, because I was like we were talking about earlier, I was like, this is definitely a different side of me, because I'm quite reserved, as everyone knows. People don't really know much about me, so I definitely feel like I gave way more of myself to this album. But I felt like it was right. Like I said, it was what was on my heart, and it was what I wanted to say. And all of the music that I grew up listening to was like super honest and super raw, and I was just like, why wouldn't I? This is what I'm going through. This is what I want to speak about. So, was there any record that you said, maybe we shouldn't put this one, it's just a little too vulnerable? No. There's like a super, super vulnerable ballad on there that I definitely thought twice about, but not in terms of putting it on the album. It's called Hide. I was just like, okay, this is quite different, and I think people will definitely be surprised, but I love the song, and I love exactly how it makes me feel. It takes me back to like that time, how I felt when I recorded it. Now, we don't know your dating situation, but did you ever have to go back and say, let me call this person, let them know what I'm singing about, so they just won't be surprised when they hear the record? No, I don't. Like, I'm not on there dragging someone. I'm not saying that's dragging somebody. That's something that could be open. No, I don't feel like it was necessary. I think all of I'm a lover girl, and a lot of the album they are love songs, and yeah, I don't think it will be a surprise at all. Yeah. You have a song called Not Another Love Song. I do. What's that about? Not Another Love Song is really just, it's kind of a play on the fact that I make love songs, and it's just like, okay, cool, she made another love song, because it really is another love song. And it's really just about like being at the stage of like where you're falling in love and you want to tell the person, but you don't know if it's too soon or if you're going to mess it up or if they feel the same way. And I feel like I've been in that situation quite a lot. And I just love the beat. It's produced by Boy Wonder, Jahan Sweet, and the Rascals. Jahan! Yes. It's my guy. Yeah, so it was just a really fun record to make. A lot of the songs are very direct, especially with the titles, like Break My Heart, Leave You Alone, Sink or Swim. You're so dramatic. I'm just saying. That was a movie, boy. Those are very like direct. Like what was the meaning behind all of those? You just wanted to let them know this is exactly what I'm feeling. Yeah, and really, like, honestly and truly, that really is just me. I'm a very like black and white person. As I've got older, I've realized that there's a lot more gray area in life. I've always seen it as very it's this way or it's that way or it's no way. And obviously, I understand now that is not how life works. But I'm quite a direct person, and I think when I'm feeling something, like I said earlier, I'm going to tell you how I feel, regardless of whether I feel, like with Not Another Love Song, regardless of whether I feel you feel the same way or not. I'm just like, what do I have to lose? I mean, you know? Now, there was rumors that you were a Boston Celtics fan. Oh, really? Yes. They said that you were a Boston Celtics fan and possibly dating a Boston Celtic. Is that any truth to that? Where you get all this from? I want to know where you got that from, too. It's Google. When you type in LMA, her picture. Really? Yes. You want to say? Oh. No, I'm a basketball fan, definitely. I'm definitely a basketball fan, but
You got a bonus track on the album called Celtic Pride.
I definitely don't. There's 15 songs. There's no bonus track.
Is that? Do you really?
Do I have? No, I don't. No. You know, I'm not one to talk about my dating life, but I didn't actually know that when you type that in Google, that comes up.
No,
so.
really?
I don't Google myself, you know.
No, you drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, I feel like that's very dangerous territory. So I'm like, I'll just stay away from Google.
I like what you told Complex too. You said people get it confused, like a strong woman can't be vulnerable, and that narrative doesn't correlate for you at all. What made you come to that conclusion?
Just life, like life lessons. I feel like being emotional there's a negative connotation to the word emotional, and people think that's like a negative thing, when I don't necessarily think it's a negative thing. Like I feel like we were saying, emotional intelligence, like that's quite hard to obtain.
Absolutely.
I think you have to be a certain kind of person to put your feelings on the line, or like be emotionally intelligent, especially if you're dealing with someone that you feel like isn't super emotional. And being a strong woman, I feel like you have to come across as this like, nothing will break me, and that's not necessarily the case. That doesn't something will break you. We're human, whether you're a man or a woman.
That's right.
And I think just kind of really just trying to control the narrative and show that there are all different sides of a strong woman. It doesn't just necessarily mean that it doesn't matter what you throw at me, I'm not gonna break. I might, but I'll pick myself back up. And that's really how I feel about it.
Is that what inspired The Power of a Woman record?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That record makes me really excited. It's definitely like a little bit sexy. It's a little bit grown, which I'm tapping into a little bit more these days as a 27-year-old. Like everyone keeps saying, "Oh, you look so grown." I'm like, did I look like a baby before?
You did.
I did.
When you walked in today, I'm like, that's Charlamagne. I just remember the baggy clothes.
Yeah, I'm
You still got on baggy clothes.
Yeah, but it's different.
Yeah, no. I definitely, and trust me, on a regular day, that's still me. But Power of a Woman, yeah, it's just really about the power of a woman. Literally, when you listen to the song, it can be taken in many different ways, not just one. And that's what makes me so excited about it. But really just knowing my power and how I can change someone's life, not even just my friendships, or how some of my friends can change my life, or even like my mom and my grandma, who are really strong, independent Black women. Like I think just being able to celebrate that is a really beautiful moment.
What's the biggest takeaway you want people to get from this album?
Honesty.
Yeah,
honesty, and like I said, I feel like I dug a little bit deeper, and I think people will know me a little bit more by listening to this album. But yeah, just really, really, really just honesty, and just what I've been through in the last 4 years. I know it's been a while. Everyone's like, where have you been? Do you still make music? I'm like, yeah, I've been working on the music, but you know me, I'm like, I'll rather duck off in my corner and make my music and come back when I know it's ready. I'm definitely like a quality over quantity type of person. So
I respect that, because we live in this microwavable era. Like, people get mad at somebody like a Kendrick when they go away. It's like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's how albums used to be. You put out a great body of work, and you make people wait. Nowadays,
wait, so are you talking about me personally, or are you talking about anyone in general? Because you said great body of work. Last time I was here, you said, sounds like a playlist to me. And I was like, but the playlist is good because that's what you put together.
Don't listen to me. I just be talking sometimes. But even taking that time to wait is dope. Like,
yeah, no, thank you.
To go cook something up that really means something.
Yeah, I feel like, especially like you said, we live in a world that's like, we're super oversaturated with just everything gets thrown at us. There's so much information to take in on a daily. It's like, how do we even actually function when you really think about it? And I just remember when I was growing up, I used to be like hungry for Beyonce or Destiny's Child to drop a new album, or, you know, like especially in R&B music, like it's very different to rap music. And I think people kind of forget that because we live in a streaming era, and we just like, our attention spans are very, very short nowadays. And there's also so much to listen to. So I think people feel like you can get forgotten easily. But I think if you take your time and you work on something that is quality, when you come back, it doesn't matter whether you've been gone for 2 years or whether you've been gone for 5 or 6, 10, whatever. I think the music will speak for itself if it's good enough.
And I agree. And to your point, like, this album does sound more like an album. It sounds like an album.
Woo!
No,
we got Charlamagne on board,
it's
people.
It's a theme all the way through.
I think that's because she's grown, and now she's put more into this album. I think the first album is you're trying to find yourself, right? You got
100%.
different writers, different producers. You're following what the label says. You're following what the producers say. But now she found her space.
They was just trying to get an album out because the single was popping so much.
Who?
The label.
with my
Boot
debut
Up.
album.
Yeah.
My debut
It
album
was?
was done basically when Boot Up started popping off. I think I had 2 more songs to do.
Oh, wow.
So like genuinely, I have such a great relationship with. Obviously, I'm signed to Mustard, so 10 Summers. But like the joint venture with Interscope, that they don't pressure me. Like I feel like I genuinely thank God every day because my situation could have been so different and it's not. And I'm grateful for that because I know it. Like I said, it could have been really different.
Because they name of the album's Heart of a Sleeve. It has a beginning, a middle, and end. You start off with Trying, and then it ends with Fading Out. Oh God, I can't do this no more. You know what I'm saying? So that makes sense. And then songs in between, like A Mess.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's a theme.
Yeah, I think just relationships in general are such a roller coaster. And I say I have this conversation with my friends all the time, but like life happens in moments. I've realized that a lot lately. Like when I used to think as a child about what my life would look like when I was older, you think that it would just be like you get to a point and I feel like 25 is the age, right? When you're younger, you feel like 25 is old and you're like, oh, I'm going to be married at 25. I'm going to have kids at 25. I'm going to have everything figured out at 25. And you get to 25 and you're like, wait, hold on. I'm actually still kind of young and I don't know what is going on. And I still have a lot of learning to do. And I've just realized in these past couple years that life really does happen in moments. Like happiness comes in moments. Sadness also comes in moments. Success can come in moments, like depending on what you see success as. You know, everybody has a different definition of success. And I think just trying to be able to live in those spaces for what they are. And if I'm sad, not trying to escape that feeling, trying to just really understand why I'm sad and understand that it will pass. But also understanding that happiness doesn't last forever. And it comes in different shapes and sizes. And I never realized that when I was younger. And I think I'm doing a better job at realizing and trying to live in the moment.
And when you were away, did you like feel like I gotta get back out there now? You was just like, nope, I'm gonna take my time.
Away makes it seem like she was locked up or something.
I wasn't
When
like
tour, and when she was working.
Yeah. There was one point where I definitely was like, I really want to put something out. But my team, like I said, my team sat me down and spoke to me and kind of like Mustard really helps me like rationalize and like see things. And obviously he's been in the industry a lot longer than I have. He's never ever steered me wrong. So I know when he sits me down to speak to me, I'm like, okay, cool. Let me take this seriously. And after I kind of got over that little phase of like, damn, I do want to put something out. But I also knew I would have regretted it because I didn't feel like I was ready. And I kind of had to make that the more important part of the story in my head rather than like, I just want to put something out. So there definitely was a period of time. It was short-lived.
When was it? Like, and what was it? What was causing it?
Because I had so many songs that I loved already in the album process. I started in 2020 recording the album right before the pandemic happened. And I, like my first 10 sessions, if you would have asked me, I would have been like, yep, I have the album. And then everyone was like, okay, calm down. Like, but I think I was just also, it'd been a while since I'd been in the studio. So now going back into the studio with a newfound confidence as an artist also, and like knowing what I wanted to say, like I said earlier, I was just excited. I was really excited about what I was making and I wanted everyone to hear it. But then I really understood that I need to do it properly in order to get that excitement back too, because I didn't want to just put a bunch of stuff out and there was no plan. And I think the plan is just as important as the music. So
I was going to ask, you know, when you hear other artists, is that your competitive nature, does that make you want to put out a song? Like when you hear a new R&B song and be like, damn, I want to get back out there. Or when you hear the songs in the Grammys, or does music give you that competitive drive?
I wouldn't necessarily say it as a competitive drive, because I feel like that makes it seem negative almost.
That doesn't have to be negative.
No?
Competing, I don't think so.
I don't know, because you know how things can get like misconstrued very easily. But I think
Inspiration, I would call it.
Yeah, I definitely. But I also like I love the place, and I know this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I love the place that R&B is in, like female and male. And no, it's not 90s R&B, but like I always say, I feel like R&B is the one genre that like is the narrative is always like, why can't we go back to 90s R&B? And I don't feel like any other genre ever gets that. I don't feel like anyone asks us to go back to the 60s or the 80s or in any other genre. And I think just the way R&B music is made these days, even just equipment-wise, it's never going to be the same. Everything sounds a lot cleaner than it did back then just because of technology. And I think that's something that's not even, that people aren't even aware of. But I love the space that R&B is in, and I was really happy. I'm really happy to watch, like, you know, award shows and performances or see other R&B artists flourishing. It's amazing. And I think when my time is here, it will be here. I don't feel like it's like, oh, I need to put something out now because somebody else is taking off. Like, no, there's space for all of us.
Mm-hmm. That's unfair to y'all generation too, because most of the people that's saying let's go back to 90s R&B grew up in that era. So they'll never. It's always experiences attached to music, right?
100%. Yeah.
That first time you went to prom, that first girl you kissed, that dance on the floor in high school.
What song? Sorry to cut you off. What song reminds you of the first girl you kissed?
Aaliyah 4-page letter. Because I had that on
Did you write one?
No, well, that too, but I had that on a 90-minute cassette tape.
Oh, wow.
And I had that one song playing for 90 minutes. And like I've been
just over and over.
Over and over. And me and my wife been together for 24 years. So when we was young, that was that tape.
Was the song.
Yeah. So that's Aaliyah 4-page letter, boy.
But I was also going to say, though, back in the 90s and 2000s, R&B played more on the radio. It was part of rhythm hip-hop. Now
absolutely.
If it's an R&B song, they try to do Urban AC, like they're not fair with
and all the rappers singing too.
Yeah.
So when you got all the rappers singing, it kind of f's up the playlist on the radio.
Yeah.
For the real R&B singers.
Yeah, it's definitely way different nowadays. But I do think that
they try to put y'all on the old stations, go Urban AC, but that's not fair because it's dope music.
But it's still listen, I'm appreciative for anywhere that they put me. I could be nowhere. So like I'm appreciative, and I feel like there's still an audience regardless. But yeah, I think it's just different. It's just a different time that we're in. And I do feel like, though, that a lot of us that make R&B music these days are really inspired, like you were saying, or grew up on 90s R&B. So I do feel like you can hear inspiration in it. It might not be exactly the same. But for the generation that is growing up right now, and in 20 years when they look back, this, our music, not even just R&B music, but rap, anything, rock, country, anything, this will be the music that feels nostalgic to them because this is what they grew up on. Right. So I feel like we just have to just let it live. Just, you don't have to listen, do you know what I mean? Absolutely. Like, I feel like I always find it weird that like people online, I'm just not the type of person, even before I was famous or anything, if I don't like something, I'll keep scrolling. Like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, this is not what I grew up on. You know what I mean? I think that's weird behavior.
Definitely.
But I do understand it's the internet. So
you 27. So you was born in the late 1900s. We were born like 1900s. We were born like mid 1900s. So.
You were not born in the mid 1900s.
What?
No, what year were you born?
1978. That's the 1900s.
That's closer to the
1950 is the mid 1900s.
Well, still, it feels like mid 1900s.
I guess you're right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right in the middle of the mid 1900s and.
You closer to the 2000s.
100%. I was born in 94.
So what 90s R&B would you consider like your era?
Well, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is my favorite album.
Okay.
And that actually came out in 94, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken.
Nah, it was a little later. Like 98.
Was it?
No,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like 98. The only reason I remember that is because like when my mom was going through a divorce, she used to play damn X Factor over and over.
Not
and
you spilling
over
all of your
again.
mom's tea.
I know, right?
At 8:00 in the morning.
I wrote a book about it. But no, like we talk about memories connected to songs. I used to think that song was, I was like, oh, mom's so cool. She listening to Lauryn Hill. But then I got older. You realized she was going through some things. You know what I mean?
What year does it say?
98.
98.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good year for everything.
Well, my mum used to listen to The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill religiously, so I feel like you're talking about. That's a good question.
Yeah,
I would love to know, but she loved the album and she had the tape that went into the car. I remember
the tape that went into the car.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Went into the car.
I was born in 94, guys.
Goodness gracious.
Cars used to take tapes.
Yeah, they had cassette. And then you could take it. Okay. I was just like,
she said you could take the radio out.
You could. So nobody would steal it.
Absolutely.
Like I still have a little bit of. I feel like the timing that I grew up in was really.
Did your mom have a club on the car too, like the club that?
So no one can drive away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I knew that.
Yeah,
that was all for guys like me back then.
I feel like I grew up in the time. I feel like I grew up in the time where I understand like dial-up internet and like you couldn't be on the phone and the internet at the same time.
Yes.
But then I also grew up in the social media age. Like I'm right. I feel like I'm right in the middle. So yeah, I forgot. Sorry, I forgot.
You was born in the late 1900s. I was just asking what music.
Why do you like to say that? What music? What music I like? Sorry, what music I like? Yeah. So Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is definitely my favorite. But I would say all of Brandy, Mariah Carey, Destiny's Child, Beyonce, all of that stuff. Alicia Keys, Mary J. Blige is one of my faves. And then even early 2000s R&B. Like I feel like when B2K were popping and like that type of thing, and that was when I first moved to New York. So I remember going to like Madison Square Garden, Scream tour.
Wow.
With like, yeah, it was, I was in my house of Derry on jeans. Like it was definitely, it was like, that's the stuff that makes me excited when I think about it.
Who was on your Mount Rushmore of R&B artists then?
Oh, there's 4 people on Mount Rushmore, right?
Yep.
That's a hard question. So I definitely have to put Lauryn Hill there, even though I know she is
Both.
But she has to be there. Mary has to be there.
Yes.
Now let me ask you, Lauryn Hill, even though she only put out 1 album.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I stick by that. R&B, or can I like?
This is your Mount Rushmore.
This is a hard question. Lauryn Hill, Mary.
I ain't mad at what I'm seeing on this mountain right now, though. Those 2.
I'd put Stevie Wonder there because I know people might not necessarily classify him as just an R&B artist. I feel like there's a lot of different genres that he taps into, but I think he definitely has to be there. And the last one. Can we like split the face so I can have 2?
If they're in a group.
If they're
not in a group, no.
But what 2 do you have?
Can we do that with Outkast?
Well, that makes sense.
You could do that with Destiny's Child. But
I was gonna. Well, it's a member of Destiny's Child. It's Beyonce for sure. I think she deserves to be there, but I also feel like Mariah Carey deserves to be there too.
Gotta pick one.
I don't like that split. I don't like Beyonce and Mariah split together.
No,
they both deserve their own individual.
100%, which is why I asked. Yeah. But you told me I could only pick 4. I could sit here and list 100 people. Honestly, it's very hard. But
that's a tough one.
Now you're gonna make me pick between Mariah Carey and Beyonce,
that's
and
right.
I'm not gonna do that.
You're not gonna do
I'm
that.
absolutely not gonna do that.
But does Mariah fall under traditional R&B? Because she makes a lot of pop records
music
too. Yeah,
well, she makes R&B as well.
But she does.
I guess you say that about Beyonce
makes
too.
Pop music too. Yeah, I think once you get to a certain like stage, you're just classified as a pop artist anyway, regardless of even if you tap into a whole bunch of different genres. But I didn't even put Brandy there because Brandy's like the vocal Bible when it comes to R&B. I personally feel like harmonies and just like, I don't know. We're gonna have to create some more faces on this Mount Rushmore.
Stevie Wonder's a great one. People sleep on Stevie Wonder. Like
I love Stevie Wonder.
He's the last. I think the last of a dying breed, like the last great living musician.
Yeah, I got to sing with him in 2000, and I think it was the ending of 2018. He does like this Christmas show, and I got to sing. I sung "Booed Up," and then I also sung "Superstitious" with him. And
wow,
yeah, it was like I just felt like what is going on? I was really happy. Yeah, it was amazing. It was in LA.
Did he call you for that? How did that happen?
Did he FaceTime you or did he call you?
He did. Yes, he did. He did call me. My manager knows his daughter very well, and his daughter handles a lot of his like relations. So they did. Yeah, they called me, and I was on the phone with him. And I remember, I think I was in rehearsal, and I was just like, my manager was like, "Someone's on the phone for you." So I'm like, "Who?" Because he never would really ever stop my rehearsals. So I'm like, "Who's on the phone for me?" He's like, "Just pick it up." And I started speaking, and I'm like, "Hello, hello," and he's like, "Hey, Ella, this is Stevie Wonder." And I'm like, wait, hold on. I literally had to, and I looked at my manager like, is this a prank? Because I didn't believe it. And then, I had a great conversation with him. He told me how much he loved Booed Up, and that he wanted me to sing. And then I went to rehearse with him for the show, and then we did it. He brings out like a bunch of different people at the Christmas show. It's like a charity for his foundation. So yeah.
You know, he really be FaceTiming people.
I believe it.
Yeah, who was it, Corday? It was somebody that said he got a FaceTime for Steve. It was Corday?
Mm-hmm.
He be FaceTiming people.
And then he jumped up.
Yeah, he acted like he was he acted like he was up. He's like, "Yo, I'm ready to work" or something. Yeah. So he acted like he was up.
Yeah, FaceTime.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I mean, what? Yeah.
Now, do you give guys heads up when you make an album like this, just in case?
That's like
just
because a song like that, we need some tough song. Leave You Alone, like, you know.
Leave You Alone's not bad though. Leave You Alone is really a fun song. But no, I don't.
For you.
No, it's great. It's great for the guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually, Leave You Alone is really, when you like really break it down, is like, I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think isn't that like ideal situation for a man?
Sorta, kinda, because it's kind of saying like it's almost like all your friends are telling you and your family's telling you need to leave him alone. People telling you I need to leave you alone.
So obviously no good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but like you need to be self-aware. I think men know when they're doing something wrong. They just don't like to admit it. So.
But do you give a guy a heads up, or if just F him because you already faded out?
No, like I like the way you did that. It's definitely not FM. Like I don't have like bad blood with anyone that I've ever dated like that. I just don't like to live my life like that. I think it's unnecessary. And like I said, I appreciate stuff for what it was at the time. But I don't give a heads up. I just like I said, I'm not saying anything super, super bad. So hopefully if I did write a song about someone and they hear it, hopefully they hear the good in it and they're like, okay, well, this is a beautiful song.
Well, how would you define, this is my last question, how would you define Ella Mai right now? For those who still remember 23, 24-year-old Ella Mai.
That's a great question.
How would you define Ella Mai?
How would I define Ella Mai at 27? I would define Ella Mai at 27 as colourful. I like that word. Colourful. I feel like I'm in terms of like just being able to explore different things. I think, like I said to you, I was always such like a very black and white person, but now I see all of now I see all of the different things that can come into life, and I feel like grey area makes it sound quite bad. Not bad, but like dull. And I think there's a lot of beautiful other moments in the grey area that I would want to call, I don't know, pink or purple, if that makes any sense. So I definitely say colourful, and I think I'm definitely still trying to figure it out. I don't want to make it seem like I have everything figured out, because I definitely don't. But I'm just definitely a lot more assertive than I was at 23, even though at 23 I would have told you I was assertive as well. It's relative to the time, and I think it just means something different to me now.
All right. Well, Ella Mai is here. What you want to play off the album?
Oh, what do I want to play? I'm going to let Charlamagne choose. Give me a title because you said the titles are quite like direct. Give me a title that you think is the most direct.
A Mess.
A Mess?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Mess.
I love working
Featuring
with Lucky
Day.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll get into that. And
you want that? Is that the one you want?
Sure. Yeah, we can do any of them. I'm down.
I know you got a plan. I know. Don't Fuck Me Up is out. So I know you probably got something else you want to come out with next.
No, we can play whichever one.
Okay. All right. Heart on My Sleeve, out May 6th.
That's right. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's Ella Mai. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.